I'm here with Daniel Bernard Roumain, violinist and composer, who will be joining us in March when he'll be playing his Woodbox Concerto with the New Haven Symphony. It's an especially exciting performance because you're working on some revisions of Woodbox. So our performance here in New Haven will be a world premiere, which is of course exciting for all of us involved, and hopefully you when you join us at Woolsey Hall. So we're here today to ask Daniel to tell us a bit about Woodbox, how it came into being, playing it, all of that. So what can you tell us?
Well, thank you for letting me speak with you a little bit about the concerto. It takes its title from an album I did a few years ago for Thirsty Records called Woodbox Beats and Balladry. And that was a record that had to do with violin, electric violin, and electronics.
Cool.
Very eclectic album, and there are a lot of themes and melodies over the course of that album. So I took some of those themes and melodies and created a concerto for violin and orchestra, for actually a 4-string acoustic violin, and of course an acoustic orchestra. And it was commissioned by the Boston Pops.
Cool.
A few years ago. The commission specified 9 minutes, and I think I might have pushed it to 10, but in some ways it's kind of short, and I couldn't get all the ideas in there that I wanted to. So the revision will lengthen the concerto to a little over 15 minutes, and I'll probably add a movement or two, and the entire concerto, the instrumentation, the solo part itself, is going to be revised and revisited. So in that sense, it really is a world premiere. And Woodbox simply refers to how the nickname for my violin, a wood box. That's literally what it is. And I think the other exciting thing for me is that as much as I've played the violin and written so many pieces for the violin, and I have a violin concerto and voodoo violin concerto, which I'll be playing on your young person's concerts. I've actually never taken the time to really write for the violin. And by that I mean not write for myself, but write for the violin. There's a big difference. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm probably going to end up with something that I might not be able to play as well, quite frankly. But it'll be something for all violinists. And of course I'll play it. And I'll premiere it with the New Haven Symphony Orchestra. I'm looking forward to that. But as a composer, I'm very excited to be writing, in some ways, my first bona fide violin concerto.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
So anything you might tell our audience to listen for or look out for? Or?
Well, I'm certainly going to include a lot of my extended techniques. These are things that I do with the violin that are very personal, and they've been developed over time. The way that I pizzicato, the way that I approach some of the more traditional ways of playing sopranticello on or near the bridge, collegno, using the wood of the bow. I even have a way of moving the bow in a circular manner, not only in a horizontal manner. All of these things are what's called extended techniques, and they'll be in the concerto, and they'll be notated. So other violinists can not only learn this piece, but hopefully learn a new technique, one that I've developed over years. At the same time, I want to write something that is in some ways a concerto for violin and orchestra, or I should say concerto for orchestra and violin. As it is right now, the orchestral parts are pretty challenging, and I'm going to continue that. It won't be merely accompanimental. And I think the third thing that's going to be interesting about the concerto is that I am drawing from this album called Woodbox Beats and Balladry. So if people buy the album, they'll be able to really kind of hear the genesis for the concerto.
Great, and we'll put a link on the website so that when you're done seeing this video, you can click on this link and check out his album.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your insight, Daniel. I know that I speak for all of us when I say we're so excited that you'll be a part of our season. And we look forward to seeing you at Woolsey Hall on March 21st for Woodbox Concerto.